Obama and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin failed to reach any real agreement on Syria, with Putin saying, quote, "Our opinions do not coincide." It sounded a little bit more Russian than that, but the pair did agree to signing a new deal designed to reduce nuclear threats. We want to bring in our gaggle right now, former Republican governor from Maryland, Bob Ehrlich. From the Center for American Progress, Aisha Moody-Mills. Nice to see you, Aisha. Thanks for being here. Roll Call senior editor David Hawkings. Thanks to all of you for joining us on this day. I want to get a sense as we talk about this. First of all, if you had a chance to watch the conversation between these two men, there were probably no other directions they could look than they did. They found every other place
not real comfortable
but each other to try to converse, and they joked at the end.
Don't loosen me up. Isn't that what he said?
Give me a sense, David. So what is at stake here as we look at the politics of personality?
Well, I mean, you know, Russia's the number one country other than us, aren't they? I mean,
was Romney right? I mean, is this the number one geopolitical foe for the U.S.?
It certainly could be. It depends to me on whether Putin gives the ring back.
It's our primary challenge, and I'd like to see the reset, the famous reset, produce tangible results. And in Syria, we certainly don't see it. At least to date.
So what changes right now as you go forward when you have this stalemate right now? Obviously, the Russians aren't going to push Assad out. The U.S. is demanding that take place.
Just the opposite, in fact.
Right.
They're actively assisting Assad, obviously. So things are going from bad to worse. It's leading from behind again, sort of the Obama administration's mantra here. And it's too late. It's a dime too late with regard to military assistance, humanitarian assistance. Nobody said this was going to be easy, but I think it's far too late, certainly for tens of thousands of innocent victims already murdered over the past couple months.
Tens of thousands. I mean, the death toll is almost up to 100,000. I think there's a really big picture here. I know it's fun to talk about the personalities, but we've got 1.5 million refugees that are moving out of the country into Turkey and into other surrounding countries that we've got to support.
So
I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis that's happening.
Is the governor right? Is the Obama administration leading from behind on this? Did they wait too long? 93,000 people have been killed. The red line was crossed for 100 to 150. Shouldn't 93,000 have been enough to act?
I think it's disingenuous to suggest that the Obama administration has been doing nothing and sitting on its hands. I mean, this is really just kind of a change in tactic. They have been supporting with regards to intelligence and communication support and providing supplies, helping refugees, and doing a lot to deal with the humanitarian crisis that's been happening. So I wouldn't say that we've done nothing and that we've just kind of been sitting around and now it's too late to go in.
When you draw a red line and the red line is clearly crossed and you wait another month to do anything, it just signals weakness to the world, and certainly with regard to those innocent victims.
I think obviously we should say that the country's really weary of these engagements. The president has much less political capital to spend than he did, you know, a week ago.
This is a humanitarian crisis, and I think your point with regard to the refugees, this is a serious humanitarian crisis in a very sensitive part of the world, which it destabilized Syria. You see the spillover already.
Yeah, I want to move on to what the president's going to do. We acknowledge the challenges that he faces right now over Syria. He heads off to another part of Europe today, goes to Germany today, where when he spoke there 5 years ago, there were nearly 250,000 people who gathered to see him. The expectations dramatically less high this go around. Has the president accomplished, do you think, for the world at least what he said he would? I mean, a lot of people right now with the NSA leaks in that region are saying, hey, you know, they got privacy rules in Germany. They are more frustrated by this than anybody.
I mean, those are always such baited questions, right? As if to suggest that in 4 years and 5 years, the president was going to solve every single crisis and every single problem that's happening in the world.
Europe thought so.
I think Europe hopes so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the reality is this: the world still appreciates President Obama relative to other presidents that we've had in recent times, and that there's a lot that needs to be done. I think that his tone and his diplomatic approach to dealing with people that we don't necessarily agree with, whether it be China, whether it be Russia, is something that has been welcomed.
The world apology tour, which is what you're referring to, promising the U.S. would be less cowboy-like, has evolved into the Bush administration redux. And that's what's so ironic about this trip. And one of the reasons, by the way, he's so far less popular in Europe than he was 5 years ago.
But hasn't the president succeeded? We're out of Iraq. We're leaving Afghanistan.
I think I understand what the governor's saying, but I do think that to the extent that the world, those people who gathered at the Brandenburg Gate 5 years ago, who thought that he was the savior, they don't believe he's the cowboy.
He wasn't George Bush.
He's not George Bush. He just doesn't come across with that same vibe. And to that extent, right, the United States is better off in how it's held in opinion around the world.
That's subjective judgment, that's for sure.
If the music is played, that means we take a breather really quick. We're not done with you guys quickly. First trivia time, though.